This is Francis Ferrugia welcoming you to tonight's WM Daily News. Thank you for joining us. Peter Graff from Reuters reports that Afghan election authorities will announce the long-delayed tally from last month's presidential vote on Wednesday, a spokesman said, although a recount ordered over fraud means the final outcome could still be weeks away. The complete preliminary result comes nearly 4 weeks after the August 20 election, and the country has since been mired in political uncertainty amid accusations of ballot stuffing. "We will give the result. It will be 100%, said Noor Mohammed Noor, spokesman of the Independent Election Commission. The result is likely to show President Hamid Karzai the winner, but not by a big enough margin to eliminate the chance of a fraud probe overturning the outcome before it is declared final. The fraud accusations have come at a difficult time for US President Barack Obama, who has already ordered thousands of additional troops to Afghanistan and is expected to make a decision in coming weeks about whether to send more. On Tuesday, his top military officer, Admiral Mike Mullen, said more troops were needed, although he did not say how many. Accusations of fraud in the Afghan election increased the political risk for Obama of sending more troops, with Americans unhappy at the prospect of their soldiers dying to defend a government whose legitimacy could be called into question. A suicide bomber in Grozny, Russia, blew herself up beside a police car in the capital of Russia's southern region of Chechnya on Wednesday, wounding 6 people. Russia has fought 2 wars against Chechnya separatists since the early 1990s. A series of attacks by Islamist militants on security forces and local leaders over recent months has shattered several years of relative calm and raised questions about Kremlin control of the North Caucasus region. Russian news agencies carried conflicting reports on the number of people who suffered in the blast, but local officials said there were no fatalities. "I officially declare there were no victims in the explosion, Chechen Interior Minister Ruslan Alkanov said at the scene of the blast. 2 Chechen policemen and 4 civilians were wounded. An eyewitness told Reuters a young woman had approached a police car and blew herself up. Others said there had been 3 policemen in the car at the moment of the explosion. Interfax news agency said the woman's head had been found. A mangled, burnt-out carcass was all that remained of the police car at an intersection in Grozny's usually bustling centre, a Reuters report said. A passenger minibus with shattered windows was seen nearby. Leaders from across the North Caucasus warned Russian President Dmitry Medvedev last month that they were struggling to contain an Islamic insurgency they said had permeated all spheres of society. The United States Department has said that Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is planning to visit Pakistan in the near future, but nothing has been finalized yet. She looks forward to going to Pakistan and that region as well, but there's nothing that's been planned yet, State Department spokesman Ian Kelly told reporters on Wednesday. Clinton had said earlier she would visit Pakistan in the fall. Kelly said Clinton plans to go to Russia in October for the US-Russia binational commission talks. There is also a number of other trips that are planned in the fall as well, he said. After becoming the Secretary of State, Clinton has made 2 trips to Asia. In her first trip, she visited countries like China and Indonesia, while during her second trip in July, she went to India and Thailand. According to the BBC, many British motorists are distracted. More than a third of motorists who took part in a survey said that they had become seriously distracted when driving. The RAC found 39% of the 1,109 drivers it surveyed were distracted by changing compact discs, fiddling with sat-navs, and using mobile phones. The survey suggested younger motorists were more likely to be distracted. Government figures showed deaths that were at least partly due to in-car distractions rose by 50% in recent years, from 50 in 2005 to 75 in 2007. BBC transport correspondent Richard Scott said it was not just mobile phones that were the problem. The report asked motorists which items they found seriously distracting. Top was music. Nearly 60% of people said fiddling with controls or changing CDs affected their concentration. Second were sat-navs, with just over 40% finding these a problem, and a little over 20% said their attention was affected by the warning lights on their dashboard. According to today's Science Daily, in a development that could lead to a novel approach to the treatment of a devastating lung disease, biochemists at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston report they are the first to link the osteopontine OPN protein to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Findings appear online and will be in the January 2010 print issue of the FASEB Journal, the Journal for the Federation of American Societies Experimental Biology. More than 12 million Americans are currently diagnosed with this incurable illness, which is the fourth leading cause of death, the National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute reports. In the United States, the term COPD includes two main conditions, emphysema and chronic obstructive bronchitis. The researchers were able to prevent COPD features in a mouse model by genetically removing osteopontin. To gauge the applicability of their findings to humans, the investigators analyzed the airways of people with COPD and found elevated levels of the protein. This is an important crossover study, said Michael Blackburn, PhD, the study's senior author and professor in the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology at the University of Texas Medical School at Houston. Because we can show osteopontin is elevated in people with COPD, this suggests that osteopontin could serve as both an indicator of disease progression and a therapeutic target. Dr. Blackburn is a director of the graduate program in biochemistry and molecular biology at the UT Medical School. Finally, our picture of the day comes from Del Mar Beach, California, where the Surf Dog Surfathon is currently in progress. The event helps raise awareness and money for orphaned pets while promoting responsible pet ownership. Different breeds from pugs to Burmese mountain dogs competed against each other for the top prize. An estimated 4,000 turned out to watch the contest, double the number in 2007. It just doesn't get any better than San Diego showing its love for dogs and its love for surfing, said Michael Arms, president of the Helen Woodward Animal Center, which organized the event. What could be more fun?